Hello, and welcome to the 18th episode of the Students for Criminal Justice Reform Board podcast. I am your host, Marissa Mack. Today we have with us Stefon Bristol, an award-winning filmmaker in the indie film world and an alumni of NYU. Welcome, Stefon.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi,
Good.
how are you? So I met you briefly this past summer at the African American Film Festival in Martha's Vineyard, where you won the HBO Best Short Film Award for See You Yesterday, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But talk to me a little bit about how you in filmmaking and in the film world.
Oh man. But first and foremost, thank you for having me here on this show. I'm greatly appreciated to talk about some of the issues that really bothers me regarding the film in this country. But how I became a filmmaker, um, at first I was 18 years old and I saw Do the Right Thing for the first time. And I right then and there I knew I was still in high school and I told my mom, I said, this is why I want to study in school. She was not having it. She said, I'm not gonna pay for you to go to school to learn be a filmmaker. And I said, all right, so I tried to become a teacher, studying to be a teacher. That didn't work out. And I was like, this ain't for me because you have to go to a high school, look at teachers, observe teachers and everything. And 7 a.m. One of the teachers walk in, start cussing the children out. I said, this is not for me. I'm not gonna wake up 7 a.m. to cuss people out. Um,
Yeah.
and I said, you know what? I still don't know what I want to do with my life. Let me go to Morehouse College, which is a historically black institution, and let me get to know myself more and whatnot. And there, um, the spark of being a filmmaker just, you know, came over me again. I woke up one morning and said, "This is what I want to do with my life. I shouldn't bend towards my parents to please them." And it's like, I appreciate what they're trying to do, and my parents are West Indian. They're from Guyana, so if anybody know West Indian parents, they're very, conservative and
Right.
understandably so. She
Mm-hmm.
wants me to have a really good, sustainable life because she comes from a country where, it's hard for her to make a steady living. So she came to the States with my father, obviously, and doing very well with themselves and they want the same thing for me. But, I want to be a filmmaker. I want to be an artist. And I met Spike Lee there, and asked him for an internship 3 times. Took me three
Mm-hmm.
times to get an internship. Yeah, it was
Yeah, I
nuts.
remember you
And
talking about that at the film festival as
yeah,
well. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Like the first time I met him, I was it was in King's Chapel of Morehouse College. He was screening what's that documentary? Kobe Doing Work. And I went up after him, Spike. I'm a huge fan. I'm trying to be a filmmaker myself. Man, I have an internship. So yeah, send me your resume. Sent it to him. I haven't heard anything back from him. And then next time he came back to Morehouse, but he went to Clark at AU, Clark Atlanta University, and
Mm.
and he showed a short film called Jesus Children of America. And the same thing when I read up to him, to Spike, I'm trying to have an internship with you. Can I have an internship? So yeah, send me your resume. Still haven't heard anything from him. And it was about to be a summer where it's like, okay, I have to figure out my life. What I'm gonna do. I want to be a filmmaker. It was me and a whole bunch of other Morehouse people trying to help the college make a film program. And I said, okay. So we had a meeting, and one of them is Stephen Love, great producer right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, him and a couple other cats was sitting in the dean's office, um, and Spike came through to um, show so we could show our work to him and say, we need a film program. And finally, there, I said, Spike, my third time asking for an internship. Hook a brother up. He said, third time, huh? I said, yes, third time. All right, send me your resume. And we talked about, oh, Jesus, here we go again. So I finally sent him my resume, and long story short, I got an internship, worked my butt off at 40 Acres and Mule Film Works in Brooklyn, New York. And um, and the rest is history. Like I went to NYU. I got into NYU. He wrote me a letter of recommendation. Um, and at NYU, I earned my MFA in film production, and Spike was my mentor throughout the years. I made some great products, I make some great films, and some were just like they would never see the light of day. um,
Right.
and 5 years, 5 years in the MFA program.
Wow.
It's very much like it's very much like a conservatory. Um, I didn't know anything about filmmaking going
Mhm.
into the NYU. Nothing. They taught you everything from scratch, from
Wow.
editing to directing actors to writing, to sound,
Right.
um, everything from scratch. You start small and you work your way up. And thank God I went through,
Yeah.
unfortunately with the student loans, but which that's unfortunate. But I
But it's worth it. I mean, it's worth it if it's something that you want to do and you've been persistent in it, clearly. Right. So
hmm
from Morehouse to, asking for an internship to making your way to NYU was something that you knew you wanted to do and you wanted to be good at it and you were persistent in moving forward with your goal. So I think
absolutely, absolutely,
that's the lesson, even as you're continuing to work now, that this is obviously something that you want to do and you're passionate about. So all the other sacrifices are well worth it.
absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree. And another side of
So
that as well is that I
is
was from Long Island. After Morehouse, I go back to Long Island. I have no other resources to learn
right.
filmmaking, so I had to go to film school. I
So
had to.
that just led you on the path to keep going.
Absolutely. It's like I have to. It's like
You had to. There was no
when
other
I
choice.
no other choice. I like when
Right.
I my passion for filmmaking was just like, yo, I have to do this now. I can't. Some
Mhm.
people wait a year and then go to film school. I can't. The next semester when I graduate from undergrad straight to grad school, I'm learning filmmaking. If it was not NYU, it was USC. If not USC, it was
Right.
SCAD, College Savannah College of Art and Design in Georgia. I was gonna go there if I didn't get
Mhm.
there.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
That was Plan D. So, but
Right.
no disrespect to SCAD, it was also a great film program there. But NYU is the best.
Right, right. That's where you were able to make your mark, and then also further connect with Spike because he actually helped you on a short "See You Yesterday," which we saw at the Martha's Vineyard Film
Yeah,
Festival, which was an awesome short. Can you talk a little bit about how that came about and the aspect of social justice and criminal justice in the storyline, and a little
hmm
bit of history on how that short
absolutely.
came about?
Yeah. So in NYU graduate film program over at Tisch, you have to graduate as a director. You have to make a thesis film. A lot of people earn MFAs have to make a thesis project or whatnot. For us, as a director, you need to make a thesis film. And I was like, okay, I want to do something that really speaks to me and who I am because I really haven't delved into a genre what I really like was sci-fi or action adventure. Um, and it was during the summer when Mike Brown and Eric Gardner got murdered by police officers. And it was also just a shy away when um, George Zimmerman got acquitted in court for murdering Trayvon Martin. Trayvon
Mhm.
Martin. And I was working on a script about this kid jumping back in time to stop his father from being a drunk driver and killing his best friend.
Mm,
That was the initial script, but
okay.
these murders happened during the
Mm,
summer, and the
mhm,
outrage from it bled into my script. And I said, okay, so I was writing the script, it bled into my script. My writing professor Pam Cass, she looked at it. She said, Stefon, you cannot put a subject of police brutality in your script and not finesse it. You either have it in or take it out. So I decided to go along with it because it's the unnecessary violence towards police officers, towards young black people in this country is ridiculous,
ridiculous.
absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and I said, okay, you know what, I'm gonna stick with it because this is something I want to talk about, and um, I was writing it, And Spike saw a early draft of it, said this is some of the best. This is the best work I've done so far, which I appreciated that comment because previously he saw another film of mine and he was not happy about that, and I want to talk about it in a moment.
Is that the Bodega?
Yes, he hated that movie.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So we'll
um,
put that to the side. But okay.
but
So
that,
see you yesterday. Okay.
yeah. So I'm writing the script, about these brilliant teenagers creating a time machine, going back in time to stop one of their brothers from being killed by a police officer, and I was trying to make it with. I had two producers that was on it, and it didn't work out. Um, we didn't get the money in time, and all the stuff that we needed to get in time wasn't happening. And I fired those producers, unfortunately, and I hired um, a co-writer to help me cultivate the script a little bit more. And her name is Frederica Bailey. She's also for NYU in the dramatic writing program. Um, and Spike, told Spike what's happening, and they told me to keep encouraged. And he also had a I won't say scholarship. It was a production fund through NYU for anyone to make their thesis. So I applied for that, and on the day of my birthday, I got that grant. Um, and thank God for that grant because that's the money I needed.
To do this film.
To do the
Mm-hmm.
film.
Mm-hmm.
I shot the film in April, so 2016. In August, so I was trying to get Spike to see the final cut of the film so he can approve it and whatnot. And it took a while until like August. Like it was very late. I forgot what project it was doing. I think it was busy that time, busy writing. She's Gotta Have It that time.
Okay.
And yeah, he was doing commercials and he was busy in the writing room. So I finally got a hold of him. Finally look at the cut, and he watched it. Said, "Finally, you're a Morehouse man."
He's like, "This is it. This is what I've been waiting for from you."
Exactly. Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, okay." I thought he was gonna hate it. I thought he was gonna berate it and whatnot. He'll hate it. And he told me that, well, it was a good cut, but you need to do pickup shots and you need to get more sound work in it. And when I was like, Spike, this is it, because I had no more money. So what you have to do is I don't know where I got the money from.
Right.
I left that meeting discouraged, unfortunately. But the next day I was at work. He called me up, said, Stefon, send me a budget of your post production. I'm gonna give you additional money through the Spike Lee production grant. I hollered.
Look at that! I know. I'm over here. I'm silent. Like, I am a person of faith, so I'm like, look at God, in this situation, because you here you are wondering how you're going to move forward. You already have Spike's approval, but you're done with your budget, so you're looking to see, what do you do now? You have a great piece. You're out of money, and here Spike comes and says, here's what we can do to work it out. So
yeah, I'm grateful and everything, and not only me, he has helped so many filmmakers, get through. D. Reese, he's so many people he has helped.
Right.
And I'm grateful for that.
So it seems like Spike has helped you with this project, but talk to me a bit about what happened with the Bodega, because I actually a bit about that movie. It seems relevant, right? There are and the premise of this movie more or less is there's a young Hispanic boy who is looking to help his family out, or help his father out, because he's in debt, and so he commits a crime. But this happens a lot, right? So there are individuals that are out there that, you'll say are committing a crime, but it's actually for a good reason, right? Or it's not to say that it's a good crime, but they're doing it for a specific reason. They're doing it to help out their family. They're doing it to help out their child. They're trying to make ends meet. And it's not just simply, I want to go out here and commit a crime. There's a meaning behind it. So how was the Bodega perceived, and what was your thought process behind that movie?
The funny thing about that movie was it was the other kid's story. So in this movie, you know, you have Solomon being brought in by his friend Gabriel to commit murder. And I'm sorry, not a murder, a store robbery. Excuse me. In the store robbery, you know, Solomon said, you know, I'm not into this. Can you please not do this? And the events happen and whatnot. No one gets killed in this movie, by the way, but I didn't mean to say murder. Um, it's when I started writing, it was about a kid being careful of choosing who your friends are. You never know what would happen if you're at the wrong place at the wrong time with that kind of friend. Me personally, I had I love that friends I grew up with. I love friends I grew up with on Brooklyn and Long Island, but there's people that I had to like keep away from. So that was the story that initially was about. It switched to Gabriel's story. You know, the Spanish kid you're talking about in the movie in the film. Um, because you know he was something about this character that keeps speaking to me, and he was much more interesting. And I again I honestly I don't know what to say about people who have been through such a hard difficult times in their lives that
Mhm.
would get them to commit serious crimes like this. It was just for me to show the audience like because people commit crimes doesn't mean they're absolutely just bad people. It was just more of like let's just look at the
There's a
situation.
desperation there. There's a
Just
desperation there. There's a
exactly that like
right.
people who does crimes are not just doing it just because they want to look cool. People who
Absolutely. Absolutely.
there's a cry of help, and there's so many so many like these kids are being ignored that we need to take a much bigger step to figuring out who they are really, what their home life is like, um, and help them out.
And I think that's important, in stating, looking at what the home situation is like and what their life is like, because there's so many different scenarios out there for reasons that people commit low level crimes or so it's important to look at that and not just look at the crime or look at what happened, but look at the entire person, look at their family, look at their history, and
Absolutely,
really see what's going on and not just judge them for what happened or what they did.
absolutely, absolutely.
um so yeah, so can I, in terms of all of your films, do they all have some sort of social justice, criminal justice? Do you have any other bodies of work that are not in that field, or is that something that you want to concentrate on, and that's more or less your passion?
My passion right now is bridging a gap between sci-fi, black people, and what's happening in the real world. What I mean by that is like I love superhero movies. I love going to see the Avengers. I just saw the Avengers trailer. Infinity War dropped. I'm excited to see that. I saw Thor, saw Justice League this past weekend, a couple of weeks ago. And the biggest problem I have leaving theater with these films is like I leave with not having something to motivate me to help me in the real world.
Mm.
I still feel empty. I love them, but I still feel empty leaving the theater, which is one of the biggest issues I had with the first Avengers movie. I just felt like it was just like just spectacle. And I know people don't go to movie theaters for to be educated and whatnot. No, nobody does that. But I want to make movies on that kind of level of fantastic superhero action adventure, but say something about what's going on in our lives
Mhm.
that we shouldn't ignore. We can't. The only way we get better as human beings and as a society is to actually address what's happening. Police brutality is
So I
happening.
actually,
Go ahead.
right, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I thought it was interesting with the mix of sci-fi and social justice with See You Yesterday, because I
Right.
hadn't in my mind thought about another film that was done in that way, where you have the
Right.
sci-fi aspect, but then you were also bringing this criminal justice package together. And in going to the movies, and I love documentaries, because I feel like it just takes you into the world of other people that you may not know of, at all. But when you go to the movies, as you stated, or when you see certain films, then you're left with not knowing what to do. So in you moving forward, you're saying that you want to take that into every film that you make.
Yes.
You want to leave people, when they leave the theater, you want them to be moved and say, maybe this is something I can do in this field. Maybe I can take a stand on certain issues, or this is something that has touched me. How can I figure out a way to make an impact in this way?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because like again, like Batman, Superman, they're great, but I just don't. There needs to be more. For me, I need to. There's nothing there besides just like spectacle. As a kid, that's fine, but as an adults watching it, like there's too much. There's too much things happening in the real world that we shouldn't ignore. And for example, and then there's next two things. One thing actually, I'm not gonna say the second one actually. The one thing I want to tackle next is gun control. And I'm gonna be making. I'm currently writing a sci-fi movie that's based on current day gun control. And nobody wants to talk about that, especially what's happening in Chicago. For me, if you make a movie that's is completely realistic, obviously, it's gonna have the audience. You're gonna have an audience having a hard time coming to the movie theater. For example, Detroit, the movie Detroit that just recently came out.
Right. That was a heavy movie. That was heavy.
That's a very heavy movie. That's a very, very, very heavy movie. Nobody wanted to go see that. Well, I obviously, as a filmmaker, has to go see that movie because I need to study how Bigelow directed this movie to bring out the issue of police brutality. Unfortunately, I found it to be torture porn, and there was moments when I'm about to leave the theater. It just got way too much.
It was too much. I can't say that it was too much, but it was definitely a lot to process, and I left the theater very heavy after that movie.
What I got from it, and it also correlates to what's happening in the real world. Well, in modern day, because that was a real event. Excuse me. Is that it's so easy for police officers to get off from murdering innocent people. So easy, and I'm ticked off about that. Because right now, almost every from my own research, from what I'm seeing, is like every murder that's happened, from Trayvon Martin to Walter Scott, police officers who commit these murders getting off, paid leave.
Right. Well, so
and then my question is, okay, what's up with our justice system?
Right.
And what is up with our jury selection?
There's so many layers within the criminal justice system that need to be addressed. And I think, we've seen that in a number of documentaries, The House I Live In, 13th, Central Park 5. There's so many documentaries, the Kalief Browder story, that kind of outline all the different steps and all the different areas that need to be addressed within our system. And I think it's important for people that have a voice and that have an audience to speak up issues. And I was wondering if that's something that you feel needs to be done. We have certain entertainers, musicians, athletes that are now coming out and making their voice known and making their opinions on social justice and criminal justice heard. Is that something that we need to do more of? Colin, absolutely. Is that something that you feel people that have a voice and have a large following and an audience need to do more of?
Yes, I honestly do. I don't know. It's like I cannot speak on because every artist who becomes big and they have notoriety and in magazines and they're on stage and whatnot. I can't speak on behalf of everybody, but it just troubles me that when I hear certain artists saying, "Oh, I don't have obligation to serve my community. I don't have any obligation to do this and that and the third." I'm like, okay, yes, you do, because
Yeah.
young people are looking up to you. They're getting inspiration from you. They're trying to figure out um what they need to do in their lives through you.
Absolutely.
That's I grew up in the '90s where, like, people around the way, people around the block look up to rappers.
Hmm.
They're the
Yeah.
only ones that's outspoken. They're the only ones that are actually cool at doing something. And a lot of them saying, I don't have an obligation to, you know, try to be conscious and stuff like that. I don't have time to do that. I'm trying to make money, and it bothers me because we're just leaving more and more generations um of not trying to better themselves through education, um, for social justice and whatnot. I honestly believe that people do,
Right.
artists do have an obligation to
Right. Right. And certainly more
talk
than
about.
what's currently happening. There are obviously other people that can step in, and maybe you don't make that charge for every single entertainer and every single, athlete,
Yeah,
actress, what have you. But I think there
I'm not
is
saying
certainly, no, no,
I'm
no,
not
I know
saying
you're
that.
not. I'm saying that I think
Sorry.
there is a platform that could be used, a little bit more than what's currently being used.
I'm I'm not saying like every single project they do has to be about that, but I do think that artists have a way of letting people know what's happening that regular news is not letting them know.
Right, right.
For example, there's been a big leap of information about slavery that's happening in Libya right now. I mean, slavery is still happening, but
Mm,
there's a huge leap of African migrants from sub-Saharan Africa to trying to get to across to Europe, but they're
right.
being stopped and being traded off as slaves. Something that's reminiscent of what happened
Years ago.
for
Hmm.
400 years.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
and regular media, news media is not covering that. I would be happy to see
Mm,
talented actors and amazing musicians talk about that.
mm, mm. Yeah, it's just
But
that
then, but they're not doing it because probably they're afraid of what their management would think, what um sponsorships would think, what endorsements would think, and I mean that's also another tricky situation too. But which again, that's why I can't say for every artist.
right, right. But as for you and your work, that's something that you're trying to do.
Yeah, right now I'm lucky. I right now I could do whatever the hell I want.
Right.
Because I don't have to worry about that stuff right now. 'Cause I'm trying to build a foundation for me when I get to a certain place. I'll be good on that.
Right.
Um,
And then hopefully
yeah,
you'll be in a space where you can do that anyway, right? That you always want to be in that space where you can do, obviously there will be certain rules and regulations, but you want to be in a space where you can art displayed how you want it displayed.
absolutely, absolutely.
So, how do you go about researching information that you need for your films? Is it taken from your own life experience? Is it taken from people that you know, the media, current events? How do you kind
Everything,
of do research for
everything,
your movies? Yeah.
everything. Before I even start writing, working, see you yesterday. I really delved into trying to figure out what happened during the scene when Mike Brown got murdered. What happened during the scene where Eric Garner got murdered. I also did other just watch videos, and there was just it was this was hurtful. It was just damaging. It was for me to keep watching a lot of these videos where police officers got caught in the act of you know unnecessarily hurting somebody or killing somebody. Um, and I actually try to talk to police officers, about this. Not about police brutality, but actually for me to be authentic in my work. I try to actually go to police officers to figure out how can I not be biased,
Mhm.
um, which is kind of oxymoronic right now for me because I kind of can be because I'm really upset with what's happening. Um, but to play fair, I ask, I try to talk to police officers, but most of the time they turn me away because they're afraid of getting fired or they're afraid of saying the wrong information, and understandably
Mhm.
so. And I'm not upset with that. I just wish there was a way where I can safely, or where police officers can safely go talk to artists, talk to filmmakers, and have a decent conversation. So when we make films about police brutality, unfortunately, it will feel authentic. It won't feel one-sided and whatnot. And I did the best I can with that. I actually tried to apply for a ride-along program, and that didn't work. Obviously, I talked to a lot of professors. I talked to people who are familiar with the police police department and their environment and what training they use, what guns they use. I do as much. I feel like I haven't done enough research, even though the amount of research I've done is months. Like a little, like before I even start writing, I do about 3 months worth of research. And at that time when I was writing the short, and I feel like I still feel like I haven't done. It's just so much, that maybe because people are afraid to talk about it, or the news media is kind of weird with their coverage, and people still try to figure it out. Um, but yeah,
Get an idea of what's going on from their end, as opposed to just learning through the news or learning through other individuals
absolutely, yeah,
how they're operating. And so, even by you taking measures to try to get information, I think it's great. We just need to have a connection and have um, certain offices talk more and and
right,
and and just speak about what's going on a little bit more freely.
absolutely, absolutely.
So I'm thinking about what what are you doing now? What are you up to now? What are some projects that you're working on that we should look out for in the near future?
I'm currently working on the feature version of See You Yesterday. We in the final stages of development. Spike is the producer for the movie, and going around we're going around studios and production companies to see who's interested in making it. So that's what I'm working on currently right now, and I'm just trying to develop, another movie and a TV show, which I can't say what it is.
Okay, okay. So we'll just look
um,
out for it. You'll have to shoot us an email and let us know so we can look out for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, that's a TV show and another sci-fi movie as well. The sci-fi movie deals with alien invasion, so that's gonna be fun, and it's low budget too.
Okay. So you're covered. You're okay.
Yeah, I'm alright. Yeah.
You're good. You're
Yeah.
okay. Good, good, good. Are you showing See You Yesterday anyplace else right now? Are you viewing the short
I'm
anywhere or
currently I'm currently working on getting See You Yesterday on HBO, which will come out in February of 2018.
you HBO 2018?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, put it all together. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So will you be around NYU at all? Will you be doing anything near campus or anything giving back to you're now an alumni and doing big things?
um, I'll be around NYU. I'm not. If they invite me back to teach a class or something, that'd be cool. Because a brother will always need a job. Um,
And you need funding for all these films and other things that you're working
exactly,
on. So, you
exactly,
gotta,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. But there are always these grants. I always see emails for grants and ways for different funding. So
yeah,
tap into that as well. But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I'm so excited. This has been great. So happy that we had a chance to speak today. Is there anything else you want to tell our audience that we didn't discuss, or any other information you'd like to share about your work and what you're doing in the future?
You can find me at cuyesterday.com or stefonbristol.com. Very easy to keep up to date with what I'm going through, what I'm doing, or follow my IG at Stefon Bristol.
Okay.
Simple, very very simple. At
Twitter,
I'm
Facebook.
Facebook, Twitter. I'm on there every day, all
Okay.
day.
all the all the social media outlets, you're on there. Okay.
Yeah.
And all the information about you and your that's great. And we look forward to seeing you and looking for See You Yesterday in 2018 on
Yeah.
HBO. Yeah,
On
yeah, that's
HBO,
exciting.
baby.
That's exciting. That's exciting. That's exciting. So thank you
Thank you.
so much for taking the time to speak with us today. And I really appreciate it. And we'll be in contact, and I'll look for your future work
Thank you.
soon. Okay, have a good day.
Have a great day.
Have a great day. Okay, bye,
Bye.
Stefan.